I am back. Welcome, my fellow closers. Welcome, boys, girls, and non-binary comrades. I am here, and my name is Mark Alvarado. I'm about to close out your week in style as I do every Friday. Before we jump into these stories, please follow us at The Closers Podcast on Instagram, at Closers Podcast on Facebook, and subscribe to your YouTube channel. Also share these episodes with your favorite people so we can build a community of favorite people, because wouldn't that just be dandy? Before we jump in, too, I just want to ask you, how's your week been? Take a second, reflect. Think about it. Did you get everything done that you wanted to? Did you get most of it done? Did you not really do anything? Because I want to just tell you it's okay if you didn't do anything. And then I want to give you a pat on the back if you did everything, or, even if you did some of it. Things are a little tricky right now, man. Things are tough, So I want to give you that little piece of positivity. I myself have been trying to stay upbeat, even when I feel like I want to drift back down. But nope, I'm keeping myself up as much as I really want to just stop. It is a lot of effort. But I must say, try to keep yourself up while you're listening to this show, because a lot of the news stories that we were talking about, pretty sad. And, I wish I could change that for everybody, but that's why I'm trying to be a little more upbeat. All right? Yes. All right. Okay. So with that out of the way, on Tuesday, there was a very devastating explosion that occurred in the port of Beirut, Lebanon. And a lot of people have been wondering what caused it. Some people have theories that it was Israel. Other people think that it was like some sort of U.S. intervention that caused this, or another nation or something. But from what I could gather, the current theory that has documentation to support this theory is that apparently, okay, now this may change because it's just since Tuesday and it's Lebanon. There's a lot of issues that I'm going to be talking about within the country of Lebanon after I talk about what happened. But from what it looks like, that there was ammonium nitrate stored on that dock that was dropped off at the port of Beirut in 2013 because of technical difficulties on a Russian ship leased by a Russian businessman. Okay, that's a lot of info. Basically, there was a Russian ship owned by a Russian businessman, dropped off ammonium nitrate after an emergency stop at the port due to technical difficulties. They left it there. And for 7 years, customs officials have appealed to the Lebanese courts trying to get some guidance to see what to do with the material. And they haven't been given any sort of guidance. So it sat there for 7 years. And, customs officials were warning the courts of the risk of keeping the dangerous substance in such a crowded city. But there was nothing done about it. Then it was apparently stored close to some fireworks, a large assortment of fireworks, to put it one way, I guess. And you mix those two together and you get a pretty big, get some pretty big devastation. As of right now, nearly 80,000 children are displaced by the disaster, and also the powerful blast damaged at least 12 healthcare facilities and destroyed a children's hospital in the Karantina area of the city. As of right now, the blast has killed at least 137 people and injured thousands more. And emergency crews have been working to find all the victims, sifting through rubble and collapsed structures. French President Emmanuel Macron visited Beirut on Thursday and said he was there to support the Lebanese people, not the Lebanese government, which gets us into kind of the second part of this story and why it's so devastating. Because, first of all, that's like the main port of Lebanon. The port of Beirut is the main port, and now that's damaged. And they were already having issues economically. So now you're hurting, they are hurt more infrastructurally, which is going to hurt their economy, of course. But socially, they've been going through a lot of turmoil, just like we have, but for kind of a bit longer. Almost a year now, there have been protests going on in Lebanon ever since October. And these protests were sparked because of planned taxes on gasoline, tobacco, and internet calls pertaining to apps such as like WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, and things of that nature. They were going to tax calls and messages from those applications. So people started taking to the streets. In 2018, unemployment reached about 46%. And then you couple that with corruption that can be blatantly seen within the public sector, and also untrustworthiness within the government, and you're going to get protests. People don't trust the government over there. Sounds familiar, right? So you're going to get protests. So it's been 295 days since the protests have started, and now this just kind of puts more fuel on that fire. So currently, there are only a few organizations that are going that can be in Lebanon, that are allowed to be. UNICEF is one of them, and I believe the Red Cross is as well. Many countries have been sending emergency supplies and workers to Lebanon. On Thursday, aid-carrying planes from Tunisia, Italy, and Russia and Morocco dropped off supplies, and workers from those countries came to aid the efforts in Lebanon currently. So that's really all that's happened. There have been some arrests made in connection to the blast. There's about 16 people that have been arrested, at least just to inquire about their connection to the port and if they had any involvement, just to gather information. So there haven't been arrests made. I shouldn't use the word arrests. There haven't been arrests made, but there have been people taken in for questioning. So that's kind of all we have at the moment. But the I just want to end with this. The devastation that is seen here is pretty crazy. It's nothing light. And most of you have probably seen the video, so I don't even have to really describe the level at which this is at. It's pretty brutal. So if you are interested in donating at all to the efforts out in Lebanon and Beirut, go to @ClosersPodcast on Instagram, click the link in that bio, and you should be able to find the link to donate to one of these humanitarian organizations. I'm not sure which one yet. I have to do a little bit more research on that, but there will be a link in the description of this episode and also in our Instagram bio. Okay, so next story. So this is a follow-up, actually, our first follow-up of this show. It only took us 7 episodes to get to it, but we finally are following up. See, hard work pays off, folks. Hard work pays off. So I talked about a couple weeks ago that TikTok was going to get banned in the U.S. It's looking like it already got banned in India, and now it's looking like it's going to get banned here. Microsoft, is trying to buy TikTok from the Chinese company ByteDance, right? So basically, in a blog post on Sunday, Microsoft announced that it was in talks with ByteDance to explore a purchase of TikTok. The move followed President Trump's threat a couple weeks ago to ban the app from the U.S. Due to claims that it could be used as an espionage tool by the Chinese government. The proposed deal would result in the Redmond-based software giant owning and operating TikTok in the U.S., Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. So, what does that mean? It means that there's hope for the Gen Z, for my friends who are hopelessly addicted to that social media app. Congratulations. There might be a light at the end of the tunnel for you in terms of TikTok. Another detail is, though, that the deal isn't final by any means, okay? Trump has said that TikTok has until September 15th to find a U.S. buyer, and that things could still fall apart even if and when Microsoft or any other U.S. company purchases TikTok from ByteDance. So meanwhile, there's competition from Facebook because they just launched Reels, which is a TikTok clone, and it's a new feature on Instagram and on more than 50 countries. For places like India, where TikTok was banned, Reels is going to be definitely used and to take the place of TikTok. So it's going to be very interesting. There's kind of a race to fill this void of a platform that isn't even gone yet. Facebook by instilling this is basically trying to jump the gun and hope that TikTok gets banned here, so Facebook kind of owns it. They add to the empire, and Microsoft is trying to use this to rebuild their empire. Which one will win? I don't know. But there probably will be another follow-up story at some point in the coming weeks that I will talk about. But until that point, that's all we got for this story. Now, next story. Next one. There's actually two that kind of coincide with each other. I went out of my way to find something that was good, something happy, something light, something up. And I found two stories that actually help us out a lot. In the past couple weeks, I've been talking nothing but Trump and COVID. And that's kind of what's been on every American's mind recently is Trump and COVID. Well, we already got Trump out of the way, so let's talk about COVID. But not sad stuff. Let's talk about some good stuff. Well, here's something good for you. Britain is going to roll out 5 million coronavirus tests that get results in 90 minutes. 90 minutes, people. Isn't that amazing? 5 million of them. Millions of groundbreaking rapid coronavirus tests will be rolled out to hospitals, care homes, and labs across the UK to increase testing capacity ahead of winter. The tests will enable clinicians and the NHS to quickly test and trace to stop any future spread of the virus. A recent study suggests measures already taken to limit transmission in care homes and hospitals have been working effectively through early July, with continued reduction on the virus even while some restrictions were eased in May and June. The two new tests, both able to detect the virus in just 90 minutes, will be made available to NHS hospitals, care homes, and labs. The two tests will be able to detect both COVID-19 and other winter viruses such as the flu and respiratory syncytial virus, or just RSV. Yet, they do not require a trained health professional to operate, meaning that they could just be rolled out in more non-clinical settings, which is very, very helpful. So isn't that hope? There's some hope for you. Look, man, in how long's it been since March? What, it's the 8th month now? In 5 months, we're already here. Like, we have tests that we can just take, and in 90 minutes we know or not. That's technology we have. Isn't that crazy? I think that's fucking wild, but in the best way. And we're going to talk more about that with the theme of the week, but the theme of the week will come in a minute because I want to talk about this other story. So, there's no headline for this, but a Japanese robotics company has developed a smart mask that can amplify voices, transcribe dictation, and translate speech into 8 different languages. And they will be available to the public as soon as November. The C mask was designed by Japanese tech startup Donut Robotics to improve communication between airline workers and supermarket employees during the COVID-19 pandemic. The mask, which is Bluetooth connected to the user's phone, is capable of translating Japanese into Chinese, Korean, Vietnamese, Indonesian, English, Spanish, and French. The company originally developed their AI-based translation technology for their Cinnamon robot to assist international travelers at the airport. But since most of the nation's airports were forced to close after the coronavirus outbreaks, the company applied their software to masks so that industry workers and healthcare providers could speak more clearly from behind protective glass, barriers, and face coverings. Isn't that cool too? That's amazing. That's so crazy, man. Holy shit. Wow. A mask that can do all of that. That was developed in 5 months. Isn't that wild? What is, like, doesn't that give you hope that things can at least, like, become easier? To me it does. Because it's like, if we got here in 5 months, like, okay, if the virus stays for, like, another year, no one wants that. But it's got to give you some hope, like, okay, maybe there'll be other technologies that will make this whole time easier. What if instead of 90 minutes to wait for your result to get back for your test, it's literally 90 seconds or 9 seconds? What if it's just like a swab in your mouth and then you just look and like the Q-tip turns green, then you're good. If it's red, you got it. You got to stay home. Like, I don't know. What if it gets to that point? That would be amazing. That's hope, man. You got to hold on to that. That's fucking great. That is so cool. And with this mask, currently it looks like It just translates Japanese into those other languages. But I don't think it takes those other languages and translates them into Japanese. I don't think it's a vice versa thing. But, I mean, just the fact that you can translate Japanese into those languages just by speaking into a mask, that's already amazing. So they're probably going to develop, vice versa masks at some point, which is going to be so cool. You already know that's going to be a hit for people around here. People might just start wearing them everywhere. But I don't know, man. That's just, those two stories gave me some hope for this week, that things are going to get better. Things are already getting better. And that leads me into the theme of the week. The theme of this week is innovation, which is kind of perfect because looking at the resilient and adaptable spirit of the human race itself is inspiring. There's a lot of things wrong with us, not just as a nation, but as just a species of people, a species of, that is on this earth. There's a lot of things wrong. There's a lot of places that we can improve on. I'm not denying that. But every now and again, it's okay to take a step back and be like, man, we're doing this pretty well. We're at least doing this well. And I know that these two stories come from outside the United States, but in our global world, our world that's so interconnected, these technologies are going to trickle into here at some point. It's not like these things are going to stay outside of the realm of the United States at all. These are going to be integrated pretty quickly, I can imagine. Anything that can help the American population, the government's going to jump at that. So innovation is something that humans have utilized in order to get to where we are. And that's never going to stop as long as we are alive. We're constantly going to be finding ways to make things better for ourselves. It's what we do, to a fault. And I admit that, and I acknowledge that. But currently, we got to look at the positive, man. And these two stories are definitely positive. And that's kind of all I got for you for this week. My name is Mark Alvarado. I just closed out your week in style. Enjoy your weekend. Please follow us on Instagram at The Closers Podcast, on Facebook at Closers Podcast, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share the videos. Share these podcast episodes on your favorite podcasting service, podcasting streaming service with your favorite people. I will be back next Friday to close out your week again. Catch me also on Wednesdays. I host the Closers Podcast. This next week is gonna be a fun one. We're gonna talk about cults with one of my pretty close friends, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be very, very fun. But anyways, guys, take care. Smile when you don't feel like it, because it'll help you out. All right, y'all. Take care.